Hello everyone, good day and hope you are doing well and staying safe, and welcome to my video. My name is Ahmed Yassin, Big Data Engineer at Microsoft. I'm excited to share with you an important milestone in my life, my first book, Administering Relational Databases on Microsoft Azure. I wrote more than 550 technical articles during the recent years and achieved the Author of the Year 2016 and 2017 honor, but I never thought of writing a real book. Jumping out of the comfort zone is never easy. I took up the challenge as a chance. It was a tough challenge with a blend of hard work. Today, with Administering Relational Databases on Microsoft Azure book, it brings the feeling of gratitude and contentment that makes everything worthwhile. This book unlocks new learning opportunities for developers, administrators, cloud aspirants, and help them to discover SQL on Azure. Thanks Prashanth and Rajendra for all your effort and support throughout the roller coaster journey. Prashanth is a product design and automation expert in database technologies with 15 years of rich, extensive experience in designing database solutions. He is a Microsoft certified professional with a master's degree in computers. His writing includes multi-part stairways on database backup, restore, and entire series on introducing SQL for beginners. He published books including PowerShell 6.0 Linux Administrating and SQL Workshop. Rajendra is a database consultant with 13 years of rich and extensive experience in database technologies. He is the author of hundreds of articles on SQL Server, Azure, MySQL, Linux, PowerShell, performance tuning, and other technologies. He is a Microsoft Certified Trainer, MCSA, AWS Solution Architect Associate. This book covers many answers to your questions in the cloud infrastructure. This includes why do we have to shift from traditional DBA to cloud DBA? How can an organization get started their journey into the cloud? What are the best methodologies and techniques available for cloud adoption? How to migrate from on-premise to cloud? How to optimize the databases? And how to implement automations. This book provides the platform for learning the advanced Azure SQL database management concepts, delivering a solid understanding of cloud infrastructure and available tools, and explaining how to implement cloud database solutions. When you complete this book, you will be able to understand Azure fundamentals and concepts. You will know how to design cloud infrastructure solutions with a focus on databases in mind. Also, you will see how to design your environment with the right services model. For example, we have DTU, vCore, serverless computing, SQL on Azure VM, and more. You will learn how to administer and manage Azure SQL with the best practices in mind. You will see how to implement Azure PowerShell and Azure CLI solutions to manage large infrastructures through Azure Automation, ARM templates, and more. You will see how to efficiently handling the Azure components, how to design high availability and disaster recovery methodologies in Microsoft Azure, how to handle advanced diagnostics to perform troubleshooting performance issues, how to learn analytics integration using log analytics and SQL analytics. You will see how to perform database-related integration using Azure Log Apps. Also, we will deep dive into administering relational databases on the Azure cloud. We will explore the key concepts that you should consider when making a move to Azure SQL. You will recognize also the essentials to become a cloud DBA. So by the end of this book, you will learn the Azure SQL concepts and gain the required skills to perform the Azure SQL administration. As an expert, becoming a Microsoft certified specialist helps in verifying your skills, where these certificates will help you to be noticed and recognized globally and become a target for any new opportunity that matches your skills. In other words, the certificate will unlock new opportunities for you, shape your resume, and simply will make your interviews very simple. If you already have your dream job, getting certified will help you in getting promoted and jumping to the next step in your career path faster. It's an indication of your productivity and proactivity. If you are stepping up in your career path ladder and starting your journey, getting certified helps you widely in choosing the best career path for you. It helps also in verifying the gained skills gradually and show that you are proactive. As a result, it will open new opportunities for you. Microsoft provides us with the ability to start a specific certification path that matches our job role. Also, it helps to show and improve our skills. For example, the Microsoft certificates can be categorized by the job role itself and by the certificate type and level. So when talking about the certificate level, the Microsoft Fundamental certificates are always recommended for those who plan to start a new technology or change the current career path. But the Microsoft Associate certificates require a minimum of 2 years of practical experience in the certificate subject. If you are applying for a Microsoft Expert certificate, you need to have up to 5 years of deep practice experience or practical experience on the technology to be certified on that field. With most of large companies are moving their data to the cloud, it's the best time for you to validate your knowledge and become a Microsoft Azure database administrator. Administering relational databases on Microsoft Azure exam is designed as an intermediate level exam for the relational database administrators and data management specialists who are interested in starting their journey in administrating the relational databases that are hosted in Microsoft Azure. To become an Azure database administrator, you need to have the proper skills to implement and manage different aspects of the data platform solutions that are built on Microsoft Azure database services. Also, you need to have good knowledge about the on-premises Microsoft SQL Server. This includes databases high availability, security, performance tuning, and optimization. In this book, the practice tests and tips provided here will help you to pass the exam DP 300, which is administering relational databases on Microsoft Azure. We organized the book by the skills measure, which is listed by and published by the Microsoft official exam, which is DB 300. In addition, this book will discuss several use case scenarios, which is we took it from our real-time experience. Also, you will find tips and tricks that help you to manage the cloud databases more efficiently. So, in chapter 1, we will discuss all the Azure fundamentals and concepts that are required for the Azure database administrators. This includes the cloud computing models, services types, and more. You will also get a high-level overview of different Azure components, services for compute, network, and storage ones. In the second chapter, you will see that you are not alone in the data world. You will see that multiple people will be involved in the data-related projects, and each one will play a specific role starting from the design phase until you all take it to the production phase. These rules are the data engineer, database administrator, the data scientist, the artificial intelligence engineer, and the data analyst. And this chapter we will discuss all these data related rules in detail. In chapter 3, you will learn about the various Azure database services at a high level. These services include Azure SQL Database, which is single and elastic pool. You will learn about Azure SQL Managed Instance, SQL Server on Azure VM, Azure Synapse Analytics, and Azure Cosmos DB. In Chapter 4, you will get hands-on experience in implementing Azure SQL in both PaaS, IaaS, or let's say PaaS and IaaS platforms. This includes the DTU, core model, and the differences between these models. We also explored the Azure Web Portal, Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI for implementing, configuring, and maintaining these different resources. In Chapter 5, we explored various security controls in Azure infrastructure using the Azure Active Directory, Azure Key Vault, and more. We also configured the data classification, threat protections, vulnerability assessments, SQL audit, change tracking, row-level security, object-level encryption. These security mechanisms are essentials to safeguard your database solutions from any threats. In Chapter 6, we discussed how Azure PaaS and IaaS database solutions has a built-in monitoring solutions to track the database performance and the resource usage. Also, it has the intelligence insight reports, query reports, extended events, automatic tuning, diagnostic settings, query performance insight, and more. And all these solutions help you to monitor and optimize the Azure Data Platform solutions. In Chapter 7, we focused on optimizing query performance using various methods such as execution plan, lightweight query profiling, parameter sniffing, column store index, table partitioning, in-memory OLTP, and more. And the query tuning, you know that it's almost the same as, let's say, the one in Azure SQL Database in PaaS and IaaS, or on-prem SQL Server, because it's the same language, which is the T-SQL. Also, you should monitor the costly queries. We help you also to optimize them for your workload with the perfect blend of database environments in Azure infrastructure, because you know that more resources consumption in Azure, you will pay more. This is why we need to optimize our queries to get better performance and have lower cost. In Chapter 8, as you decide to move from on-premises to the cloud, you need to consider a couple of things for automation. So, as you have seen in the previous chapters, building and managing Azure databases is so simple. But in Chapter 8, we introduced how to perform automation for these automation tasks for these platforms, and how to define automation framework, available tools, and also how to implement the procedures that gives you the necessary building blocks to experiment with automation. In this chapter also, we will discuss the ARM templates, the Azure Logic apps, also provide you with the necessary background to create and run the SQL Server agent jobs and schedule it to run against the Azure SQL database. You know that automation is the key and vital skill that the DBA needs to process. And whether it's deploying Azure resources in an automated fashion or managing the Azure SQL Managed Instance or SQL Server database maintenance in Azure VM. So all of this need to know and have a good understanding about the automation skills. In Chapter 9, we showed how High availability and disaster recovery planning and implementation are essential for business continuity and high resiliency of database infrastructure, and we explored various high availability and disaster recovery solutions for both PaaS and IaaS deployment models, such as active georeplication, auto failover groups, automated backup, data redundancy option, backup storage redundancy, backup to URL, and automated backup v2. In Chapter 10, you will learn how to manage and administrate Azure SQL database using T-SQL, PowerShell, and Azure Portal. It shows also how to manage SQL on Azure, and also it helps understanding how to manage efficiently using Azure Portal and other methods. It helps also you to ensure you have all the available tools that are required to configure your Azure SQL databases, and also it provides you with the steps to manage Azure database infrastructure for better performance. In Chapter 11, we covered the unified Azure SQL management using SQL Server IaaS agent extension using Azure Portal, Azure PowerShell, and Azure CLI. We also looked at the future roadmap to build on the unified foundation suite. In Chapter 12, we convert the various SQL migrations to Microsoft Azure using the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkits, Data Migration Assistant, Azure Migrate Service. We also covered the migration of SQL Server to Azure VM, Azure SQL Database, and Azure SQL Managed Instance. In the last chapter, which is Chapter 13, we provided additional links for the exam preparation in case you are interested to dig deeper, and provide more than 100 practice questions for the DB300 exam. After completing this book and becoming a Microsoft Certified Azure Database Administrator Associate, we helped you also to think about your next certification step. These are the list of chapters, as we mentioned, from 8 to 13. The ebook and paperback copies of that book can be ordered now from Amazon or from Boothie, as shown here. Also, you can easily search in Amazon or Boothie for the book and you will find it. So please get a copy and don't forget to leave your valuable review for us, which will help us to improve an issue and also encourage us to go with the next steps in these books. Thank you for your time and wish you a great and safe day.